All right, welcome back to another legitimate size, normal size, I should say, not legitimate size episode of the Spoiler Alert podcast. Ty, we're not completely ass packed this episode. This is a normal weekly episode.
Yeah, normal episode, but some big releases this week. It's exciting.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we saw the two. Well, I say we. I saw one of the big releases. You saw both of them. And I'm
Yeah.
glad we get to talk about them because this has a very Barbenheimer feel to it with Wicked and Gladiator 2.
Glicked Weekend.
Glicked
Actually, and
Weekend.
Moana. Moana was included with that too. So it's really been
That's
three huge movies came out within the last I don't know, week.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
they saved it all for the end here.
Yeah.
But I did see Moana too, so we'll get to that later here. So we got a lot of things here. So we got our good old convince me to see or not segment here with three movies: My Old Ass and Moana 2. And then, like I said, Ty, you saw Gladiator 2. Then we're going to give you a full spoiler-filled review of Wicked. And, I think that's going to be a fun discussion here.
Yeah.
Do
I
we have
definitely
the
think
movies
so
at
too.
the top? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Well, awesome. Let's kick it off as always with movies that are coming up this week. We're in the holiday season. The wife has been watching a lot of really horrible, corny Christmas movies on Netflix. My mom's been doing the same, and I'm sick of them. I'm sick of seeing them.
I did one too. I did the newest
It's
Lindsay
okay.
Lohan one. It was called Our Little Secret or something like that.
Yeah,
Pretty shit. But not,
they're not
not
good.
worse. Pretty shit.
Something to throw on in the background while you cook.
Definitely. That's pretty much what we did. Yeah.
But this kind of seems like one, not completely up what's the word I'm thinking of, corny alley, but it's animated, so it gets a pass here. And it is That Christmas, comes out on Netflix. Actually came out today, December 4th. So as we're recording this also released. It is an unforgettable Christmas for the townsfolk of Wellington on Sea. Well, that's a horrible name for a town. When the worst snowstorm in history alters everyone's plans, including Santa. So even Santa can't go through the storm. But we get Brian Cox here as Santa. You know him from Succession. You know him from the uncle in The Ringer. By the way, that's one of the funniest fucking things is that he's an Emmy-winning actor for Succession.
Oh yeah.
Touted as one of the greatest actors of the generation. And then you're like, yo, he was the uncle in The Ringer. He was telling his nephew to act retarded to win the Special Olympics. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no.
So
all the releases on Netflix, this is probably one of the better ones, at least because it's animated. It's probably one of the better ones. I think the other ones are just kind of shit.
Getting decent reviews here. Not a ton of reviews since it just came out today, but 6.9 currently on IMDb, 63 out of 100, which for a kids animated movie, that's not horrible.
Yeah,
we've definitely seen a lot worse. But this is directed by Simon Otto, and if you don't know the name, that makes sense because this is his first time directing. He was, however, an animator for How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda. So he's been involved in the movie.
He's got his hand in a lot of animation. We'll talk about an animated one coming up here after a bit that I'm kind of excited for.
Next one here, not Christmassy at all. It is called Night Bitch. A woman pauses her career to be a stay-at-home mom, but soon her domesticity takes a surreal turn. So this is Amy Adams. She seems to be doing a lot of creepy thriller type movies lately.
Yeah, I can't remember if I saw the trailer for this one or not, but I just remembered hearing the premise for this and I immediately wanted to see it. I'm definitely going to see this one. There's no doubt I'd see this one. Whether it's good or not, that's to be determined, but yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. Amy Adams, I like her. She's good enough, does a good job. I also see that there's some twins casted in this movie, which is always scary. Twins are scary for some reason. And then the director here is Marielle Heller, who actually directed A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks.
Shout out to Mr. Rogers, Pittsburgh guy.
Yeah, that's the man. Next one up here, we have...
I might go see this one this weekend or something sometime. It's only an hour and 38 minutes long, not long at all. Seeing 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, so hit or miss probably for people. We'll see.
That's probably one you can sneak in too if it's that short.
For sure.
Next one here, which is also coming to theaters, The Order, a series of bank robberies and car heists frightened communities in the Pacific Northwest. A lone FBI agent believes that the crimes were not the work of financially motivated criminals, but rather a group of dangerous domestic terrorists. So this is Jude Law, who is in honestly quite a lot of things over the past few decades. Nicholas Holt, who's Nux in Mad Max, Beast, and X-Men. Ty Sheridan, who is also in the same X-Men movies as Nicholas Holt. As Cyclops, he's also Parzival in Ready Player One. And
Oh,
the
okay.
big scary part here, even though currently there's decent reviews, 72 on Metacritic, 7.1 on IMDb. My worry, Justin Kurzel is the director, and he directed that horrible, shitty Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh no.
So I am worried there.
I almost went and saw this on a whim, like on like it was either Monday or Tuesday. I was just looking to see if anything new was out. And caught my eye just because it was the only one I hadn't heard of. Yeah, decent reviews. Like I'm tempted to go see this one. I don't know, maybe it might not be out for very much longer. We probably won't have to wait too long to stream it. I'd have to think, but it
Mhm.
sounds interesting enough.
I'm always down for a good heist movie.
Yeah, this seems like it would be like right on Netflix. So
That's fair. Has
I
the same
did
feel.
just
What was that last movie you just saw? Because it kind of feels like that.
Rebel
Um,
Ridge.
yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Is this guy? No, it's not. Okay, I would have caught that if it was him. In the trailer, the one guy looks like the youngest brother that ODs in the Iron Claw.
Oh
It looked a
yeah.
lot like him. It is not him.
Okay.
I was like, oh shit, he's gonna kill himself again.
Hi, Sheridan is related to Taylor Sheridan from Yellowstone.
I don't know.
I'm gonna give that a quick Google.
Say, is that something that parents are Stephanie Sheridan, relatives Madison Sheridan?
Okay, so no relation.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah.
Taylor's just way cooler. We've been rewatching Yellowstone because Tay, I don't know how far she got into it. She got
Mhm.
decently far, and I think I only ever watched like the first two seasons, but we just finished the second season again, and I'm hooked
Nice.
again.
I never started.
Badass
So
show.
I gotta tell you. So I want to see it. It's on the list. I think I've told you in the past. Like Game of Thrones left a really bad scar for me.
Mhm.
To the part that I wait for things to completely finish before I watch them, and like that's not fun because everyone's watching the new things, and I can't talk about them, and I just feel, left out. So there's a couple things I'll tune into that are newer. I watched the first episode of that Landman.
Yeah, that's
Billy Bob.
Taylor Sheridan too.
That's her.
Yeah, well, it's, the guy that invented Yellowstone and like he did Sicario and all that stuff. That's his new show too, I think.
That makes sense. It has a very similar feel to it.
Yep.
Okay. What do we got next here? I did have the writer here, Zach Balin. He wrote King Richard with Will Smith. About the Williams sisters, tennis, all that good stuff. He wrote Creed 3, which was the worst Creed, and Gran Turismo, which was meh. So the premise is there. I hope it's good. The writer and director, those are the people that worry me.
Okay.
Next one here, The Return. After 20 years, Odysseus finally returns to Ithaca, where he finds his wife held prisoner by suitors vying to be king and his son facing death at their hands. To win back his family and all that he has lost, Odysseus must rediscover his strength. So this is obviously based on Homer's epic, and it stars Ralph Fiennes, who we all know and love as Voldemort.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Voldemort, and this Ralph Fiennes, I just saw this. I don't know if this is like actually a thing or not, but I saw that he'd be willing to pass the torch as Voldemort over to Cillian Murphy of all people for the Harry
Ooh.
Potter show. I don't know if that's true or not, but that'd be cool. I could see
Yeah,
it.
that
I
does
kinda
make
could
sense.
see
I
it.
think that's fair.
Yeah.
I know everyone wants fuck's his name? Adam Driver to be Snape. And I'm like, damn it, it makes sense.
It makes so much sense.
It makes a
Actually.
lot of sense. I remember there also being talks of like a early a prequel of like Snape's early life because he has an interesting story. He was like abused and shit growing up, and that's how he became friends with Lily and all that. But I don't know. There's some things that I think should be left alone. I know the remake of Harry Potter is coming, and I'm gonna watch it, and it's gonna break my heart.
Mhm.
But that's where we're at in our lives now. Ty at 30 here.
Yeah. The fact that Harry Potter's getting remade is really just like the icing on the cake, I think.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, how long did it normally take for things to get remade? It felt like it took longer, and now what? Because Harry Potter came out what 2004, 2002.
It might have been like 2000.
Harry Potter. Okay, Sorcerer's Stone was 2001, so
Okay.
23 years. Okay, it's it's not that soon. God damn it,
Yeah, we're like, oh my god, that feels like yesterday.
you're
It's like,
fucking old.
yeah,
God damn it. All right.
damn it.
Well, speaking of being old, Y2K was a thing that I don't really remember people freaking out. Do you?
No, because I think we were just a little too young.
Yeah, we were like 5, 6.
It's like right before we could start like picking that shit up.
You know, those are 2 wild years in a row. It's like we had this, people freaking out about Y2K, and then we get September 11th.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? We got screwed. But Y2K is a film that is coming out this week to theaters. 2 high school nobodies make the decision to crash the last major celebration before the new millennium on New Year's Eve, 1999. The event becomes even crazier than they could ever dreamed when the clock strikes midnight. It has a little bit of a super bad feel to it.
That's exactly what I said. I've kind of been looking forward to this one. It just feels kind of like this is the end and super bad.
Yeah. And I hope it is. I hope it is like that. I do like that was mean. I was going to call him the fat kid. I mean, he is. But
Yeah.
Julian Dennison, I do like him. He was
Oh yeah,
Fire
he's
Fist in
hilarious.
Deadpool 2. And he was in another, I think he's Australian or from
Yeah,
New Zealand. One of those.
he
New
was
Zealand.
in he was in another Taika Waititi movie. I can't remember what it's called. Like something about the wild people or something like that.
Yeah, Hunt for the Wilder People. That movie was
That's
actually
it.
good. That was
That
really
was
good.
really good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, he's
So
been
I
in a lot of
like
stuff
that.
now.
I like that dude. You know, they're trying to get the fat Jonah Hill vibes
Uh
here. And
huh.
then what's his name? Jaden Martell, Bill from It. This definitely gives some shit. What's that dork's name? From obviously from Superbad, but also from Michael Sarah.
Oh, Michael Sarah.
Michael Sarah. No, yeah, not McLovin. He does give the Michael Sarah vibes here.
Yeah.
So Kyle Mooney, he has never directed anything. He's been in a lot of garbage. He was in Zoolander 2 and Unfrosted, which I know was your favorite movie, Ty.
Fuck that movie. I forgot all about that movie till we just talked about it.
And then, like I said, Jaden Martell was Bill in It Part 1 and 2, Jacob in Knives Out. Rachel Ziegler is a bitch from real life, is my note here. Julian Dennison, Fire Fist, Deadpool 2. He was also in Godzilla versus Kong, which I forgot about.
Okay, that's right.
And then the 2 funny ones here, Fred Durst. You get
Yeah, that rules.
old Limp Bizkit here.
That's so
And
cool.
also the kid Leroy. I don't know if Fred Durst playing himself. You know, he's just going to be. He is. Yes, he's
He
playing.
is. He's just Fred Durst. That's so good.
So there's that. Did I tell you Brett has been trying to get me to go to a Limp Bizkit concert?
Well, I would absolutely go if I were
So
you.
so let me tell you why. It's not for
Oh,
Limp Bizkit.
is it for who I think you're gonna see? Yep. Yep.
Brett wants me to see Corey Feldman because he knows look, I love him as a child actor. I'm sad he was a child actor for all the things that happened to him. I the dude musically, it is a cringe fest.
Yeah, terrible.
But yeah, Brett only wants me to go so I can see that
Corey
opening
Feldman.
act.
The fell dog.
The Phil dog. Anyways, that does look funny. I think I would enjoy this movie.
I'm definitely gonna see this one.
It does
It's
have a
on the
little
list.
horror vibes as well, they say.
It's got a I think it's got a let me see. I just saw it on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 59. So I feel like that's what
Okay.
most horror comedies kind of go for these days.
Sure.
Like they don't have a huge audience, but the ones they do hit like it. So we'll see.
2 more here. Getaway is coming to theaters as well. A family's vacation to a remote getaway takes an unexpected turn when they discover the island they're on is inhabited by a serial killer.
Oh.
I mean, I wonder how big the island is. It has to be pretty small for that to matter. But
Right.
this is Nick Frost starring, and he wrote this. And Nick Frost, you know, from Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
Yep.
those honestly really funny movies. But he
Mhm.
hasn't written a movie since Paul. And if you don't remember that movie, that
Paul
was the
was
one where
yeah.
they find an alien, and the alien is Seth Rogen.
I liked Paul. It was a good
Yeah.
movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember I saw it at the theater.
The final one here is another Netflix film, Mary. This is, of course, about Mother Mary, Christmas time. That is what this one's about. In the time was coming of age story, Mary is shunned following an otherworldly conception and forced to flee when Herod's, oh, the king. King Herod's insatiable. God, they got big words here. Insatiable. God, I'm dumb. Thirst for power ignites a murderous pursuit for the newborn. Anthony Hopkins plays the king here. EJ Caruso is the director. And he directed I Am Number 4. The only reason I remember that movie, Ty, was filmed in Vandergrift.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think that was like literally filmed like where I grew up. Like they were in
Yeah,
my neighborhood. Kind of wild.
they
Never saw
used
the movie though.
downtown. It wasn't good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
not
figured
great.
not.
I just wanted to watch it to see Ken Beck was in it.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of funny. But yeah, he did that Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf, and then Triple X Return of Xander Cage, which was poo poo.
I didn't even see that one. I think I only saw the first Triple X.
First Triple X is great. I
Real
know the
sweet.
ratings don't reflect that, but back then when it came out, we had that on. Man, that was probably a VHS movie at the time.
I was gonna say, or real early blue, like real
Yeah,
early DVD.
and we ripped that thing often. My dad had like an excursion with the VHS player in it,
Huh?
and you just watch it on like the 10-inch TV.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we watched that quite a bit. Ty, that's all we got out coming out this week.
There's not too much more stuff coming out for the rest of the year. I
Oh,
think like I mean, there's some like quote unquote big ones coming out, like Craven the Hunter, and then there's like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Mufasa. I think Mufasa is gonna flop real bad. Craven's probably gonna do shite.
th-
Sonic has its audience, but the one that I'm looking most forward to for the rest of the year is Nosferatu now.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
apparently good, so that's
You sent me
sweet.
those ratings, and then I just watched the trailer again. I'm pumped.
Oh, I can't wait. So, but yeah, other than that, there's not too much more stuff coming out the rest of the year. And it's crazy. It's already going to be 2025. I wonder what the first big release is going to be in 2025. Let's look.
Probably find that out. Yeah.
Wolfman. Might be Wolfman.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, also Dogman.
That flight risk looks kind of cool. I remember seeing that one. I think it's got
Cap-
Marky Mark.
I don't want to call it the big movie, but they're gonna try to make it one. But Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah, I mean that's technically probably the biggest release. I might not even see it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Mickey 17. When does that come out? That's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm all the way to May now, and they're
This kind of,
anyway.
I mean, we're. It feels like we're proven wrong every year because, like, even this year we did like a preview of the whole year. We're like, yeah, it's kind of a down year. It feels like. I feel like I say we. I'm lumping you in here, but I was definitely proven wrong. I liked quite a few films this year.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time though, were we definitely in a drought where we thought nothing was going to come even close to Dune?
Yeah.
Now we've got a couple of releases here within the last couple of months that have all been at least like 9 territory, close to
Hmm.
10 territory for some. Yeah, I think that I'll probably at least see 1, 2, 3 more movies. 4. I don't know. I'm planning on seeing at least 5 more movies for the rest of the year, so we'll see. We'll see if any of those crack the top 10. But definitely Nosferatu, definitely the new Lord of the Rings animated movie, then probably Y2K and Night Bitch. That's 4. So we'll see. Not too much news though. A lot of it came out today. But first thing here, Thanksgiving 2. I know we just celebrated Thanksgiving, but now we're getting Thanksgiving 2, everybody. Um, no, it's actually the movie Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's actually next week. Everybody just don't go to work on Monday. It's actually Thanksgiving 2. But no, Sony just recently announced that Thanksgiving 2 is coming out in 2025. Eli Roth and whoever the hell Jeff Rendell is are back to write the screenplay. Plans to start shooting at the end of March 2025. And Roth said, "We're upping the ante, but we are not going to do it with more money." So that's usually kind of a weird thing. Whenever a movie does well, they kind of make it a little bit more money, but that keeps it tight and lean and mean and forces us to make more decisions, he says. And he also said that's a lot of setting up that we did in the first one we didn't have to deal with until now. It can all just be paid off. So we'll see what that means. But apparently it's going to be a continuation of the first movie. No shit. And both Nell Verlacki, I don't know how to say her name, and Rick Hoffman are expected to reprise their roles. And Nell was like the final girl from the first one. So first movie was not that bad. I didn't mind it one bit. So we'll see how this one goes, I guess. Next up here, we have some Lord of the Rings rumors for The Hunt for Gollum. According to people, one of the people that's responsible for the film, one of the fan favorite actors has already been asked to return. So the writer, her name is Philippa Boyens. She's a member of the team along with Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, responsible for the future of the Lord of the Rings franchise. She was talking about the new upcoming movie, and specifically, she talked about how the film has a prominent role for Aragorn, and they're hoping to have Viggo Mortensen back. That would be huge. So she also explained how The Hunt for Gollum is set during the Fellowship of the Ring era, shortly before Frodo leaves the Shire for Rivendell. So it's actually like not really like a prequel. It's just like what they call it. It runs parallel to the events of the Fellowship of the Ring, she said. But it sees Gandalf sending Aragorn on a quest to find Gollum, who they fear is going to give information about the ring to Sauron. So that's why it would pretty much. I mean, Viggo would probably be a main character in it. So, which I thought it was going to be like a newer movie, like not set in that time. Like I thought it was going to be after that. And I was like, well, there's no way he's fucking completely dead. Um, but then she said it's just up to Viggo if he thinks the script is. He'll join probably, but if he doesn't like it or whatever, doesn't decide to join, he'll still be involved in how he can send off his character and how he can find somebody else to play it or whatever like that. So that would be cool. I'm excited for this movie now, just because Aragorn is the man. I just recently rewatched all three again, not too long ago, and I'm really just hyped for this now. But speaking of Lord of the Rings, like I said a little bit earlier, the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim, I think that's how you say it, Rohirrim. It's an upcoming anime movie, and it's set 183 years before the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it tells the story of Helm Hammerhand, a legendary king of Rohan, and his family as they defend their kingdom against an army of I don't even know, Dunlendings? Don't even know what the hell that means, but that comes out next Friday, Friday the 13th, may I say. And I'm pretty excited for that. I'm just ready for some more Lord of the Rings. I still need to watch Rings of Power. That's on the list, but so a little bit of Lord of the Rings news there. Next thing here, we have our next Stephen King movie adaptation here. The latest one is going to be based off of Stephen King's The Life of Chuck, which I hadn't heard of, but I do have the book that it's in. It's a novella, but it's going to be in theaters May 30th, 2025, and Tom Hiddleston, Loki, is going to be the lead role. It's going to be directed by Mike Flanagan, who's already done a bunch of Stephen King stuff, but he did The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor too. But then he also did Gerald's Game and Doctor Sleep too for Stephen King. So they kind of just have a thing going at this point. But it's split into 3 acts, and it tells the life story of the late Charles Krantz in a unique way. Apparently, the plot unfolds backward and is packed with plenty of melancholy, but still keeps a hint of mystery in the air. Not sure what that means, but apparently it's completely different from like a lot of his other movies and books because everybody knows he's like a master of horror and suspense. But this one, it's more of a reflection on the importance of leading a meaningful life and the relationships we build with others. It sounds kind of dramatic, honestly, and especially for a Stephen King movie. But he was directly involved, and he initially doubted if it would appeal to himself or audiences. But in the end, he described The Life of Chuck as a happiness machine. And apparently, it's already been to I think Toronto Film Festival, but it won the People's Choice Award, where it won the Best Picture of the Year at the whatever festival the hell that is. But apparently, it moved audiences, they said, and is considered a strong contender for the 2026 Oscar season already.
Damn.
That's kind of wild. Whenever I was writing this, I didn't expect all that, but that's awesome. It does already have an 85% Rotten Tomatoes with some positive reviews. Looks pretty promising for that. But it's also going to have a couple other big names in it. I know I saw Mark Hamill and a couple others, but like I said, May 30th, 2025. I'm excited for that one now too. And then the last bit of news here, I think this just came out within the last couple of days. Apparently Disney wants to bring back Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean 6 after he won his trial against Amber Heard.
Jesus.
So apparently, after sifting through several ideas to continue the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, they just landed back on the original Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow. They've apparently not spoken with him yet, though. But producer Jerry Bruckheimer is working on 2 different versions of the script. One which would incorporate Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow, or one which wouldn't. So I guess we'll just see how that goes. But yeah, I think this hit just like right at the wrong time for us. Like I watched the first couple, but then I didn't see the last couple, so I kind of quit giving a shit. But I mean, we'll see. It's interesting enough. If he comes back, then it's way more interesting. But if he doesn't, then I could really care less. Apparently, they do want to make a Margot Robbie one though too. So that's kind of not a lot of news. Just a couple things that came out really within the last couple of days because I've been on the hunt since the last episode.
Yeah. Hey Disney, come up with another an original idea.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here?
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and hop into our convince me to seize or not. I saw my old ass Moana 2. Ty, you got Gladiator 2. Since I
Yep.
got two, we'll smash you in the middle. I'll start it off with my old ass. So this is now on Amazon Prime, so you can stream that. That's really the only reason I went to watch it. The first 20 to 30 minutes are interesting enough, but it immediately just like becomes a snooze fest. It is very much not the movie that they put in the trailer. In the
Okay.
trailer, it looks funny. She's having a big old mushroom trip and she sees her future self and they talk about it. And it just seems like a funny kind of coming of age, oh, you're gonna help me make my mistakes. Oh, you're fucking old. You look like mom. I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny, sure. But it slowly, and I mean slowly, becomes not funny. It is more sad and just boring because apparently, they meet a guy, it doesn't go well, you don't know why, but then they just keep harping on it. They also completely lie about Aubrey Plaza being in the movie. She's
Really?
in the movie for maybe a total of 5 to 10 minutes screen time.
Oh no shit.
And then you know what? I'm going to say 5 minutes screen time, and then the other five might just be her voice because somehow they communicate through a phone number, which is
What?
never explained. But yeah, so she's not in it. She's not part of this movie. So when people say, "Oh, I like Aubrey Plaza," I'll give that a go. Don't, because she's barely in it. So that was really annoying. Yeah, like I said, the tripping part when all three of the friends go and get on some shrooms while camping. That's the best part. It's pretty funny. What they did was at the very beginning, like in the first 2 minutes, they made sure to check all of the diversity and political affiliation boxes. Immediately you have every race, you have every sexual identity. It's just like, okay, cool, move on. And then they do move on and it's funny, and then you don't care about the rest of the movie.
Mm.
It was bad. It was a shame because I give it a chance. I'm not the biggest Aubrey Plaza fan, but I like her enough to give it a go. And as I started to read, I'm like out of tune with a movie when I start looking at reviews. I don't like to look at like written reviews before I see a movie because I don't want it to point my mind any certain way. During the movie, I'm like, okay, does this get any fucking better?
Yeah.
And that's where people started to say like Aubrey Plaza isn't in this movie. I'm like, what? And then I watched the rest of it and I'm like, you're right. She isn't in this movie. So good old bait and switch here by whoever made this turd. I gave it a 2 out of 10.
Oh, a
Uh,
2.
yeah, don't see it.
Yeah, damn. I mean, yeah, it sounds like an interesting enough premise, but like, yeah, I mean, what's the point if she's not in it? I mean, she's like
And
billed as
I
pretty much like the lead or like at least second lead.
and I even took it from like kind of like we did for so not invited to my bat mitzvah,
Uh-huh.
that movie. I'm like,
Yeah.
it wasn't great, but it also wasn't for us. I tried to take that stance.
Right.
I'm like, this movie's probably not for me. This maybe for younger women in that age group and everything. So I tried to take it from that side of things as well. And even from that standpoint, it's not good. It isn't good. There's other movies out there that do that better. This wasn't one of them. There's literal like 10 to 15 minutes of between important scenes. But yeah, 2 out of 10. Don't see it.
Okay, we'll do. I just was looking to see what else this lady has directed. A movie called The Fallout, which I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
Apparently, it's about a high schooler, Veda, navigating the emotional fallout she experienced in the wake of a school tragedy. Yada, yada, yada. It's got Jenna Ortega in it, though, so that's
Oh
cool.
shit.
But I thought this might have been her feature film debut or whatever. But no, she directed a whole bunch of that movie and then a whole bunch of music videos too. So it's weird how that always happens somehow.
This
They're like, hey,
Fallout. Yeah, music videos.
yeah,
I might give the Fallout a go. That looks interesting enough. Like I don't know. I just the story didn't click. There was too much of nothing going on. Honestly, after watching Wicked,
huh?
that's a musical and everything. This might have been really good as like a stage play.
Oh
And I
yeah,
bet it would have been a lot better. Cuz it's too small for a big screen if that makes sense.
yeah. I'm tired. I'm also tired of people playing like a younger and like an older version of somebody, and they don't look anything alike. Like this girl
Yeah.
that is like in this
Yeah.
girl is like probably in real life maybe 10, 15 years younger than Aubrey Plaza, and
Mm,
they look nothing alike.
no.
And even in Yellowstone, whenever they flash back to like, I don't know, 20 years ago, whenever like John Dutton is
Mm.
just played by a completely different guy, doesn't even look like the same person. Doesn't look like Kevin Costner at all. Just, I don't know, do something different.
Yeah, and I think they kind of say that in the movie. They almost,
Oh,
like,
really? Like,
know.
hey, we don't
Like,
look
when they
alike.
first see each other, it's like, "You're not me. We look
Mm,
nothing alike," stuff like that, and then they're like, "Shit, you look like mom," and then, they start to figure it out that way, but
I see. So
yeah,
at least they kind of poke fun at it then.
sure, yeah.
But that leads me to my movie that I saw, which I will
Yeah,
definitely be convincing you to see, hopefully, and
okay.
that's Gladiator 2. So obviously, it's going to go without saying that Gladiator is one of the greatest films of all time, having won 5 Oscars with 7 more nominations at the 2001 Oscars. It won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound, and Best Costume Design. It's a 10 out of 10 in my book. It's Ridley Scott at his best, along with Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix, too. But whenever the sequel was announced, it left a lot of people wondering why 20 something years later, if it was even necessary or if it was just a big cash grab. And living up to the first film was probably not going to be a reality. But after screenings at film festival, it started to get pretty good reviews, and I wanted to see it. I still didn't think it was going to be, like a 10 or have the cultural impact that the first one did, but I was excited to see it nonetheless. It's currently got a 6.9 on it's 71% certified fresh critic approval on Rotten Tomatoes and 83% audience approval on Rotten Tomatoes. So this one is also directed by Ridley Scott, just like the first, with Paul Mescal playing Lucius, the new lead, and Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn, and Fred Heckinger, all with new roles in the movie too. Fred Heckinger, I knew he looked familiar. I'm pretty sure he's the grandson in Thelma. Let's see, Gladiator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's like the doofy like grandson in Thelma, but he's one of the twin emperors in this movie. Yeah, that's it. But this one's set 16 years after the events of the first movie, and it's after his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who lead Rome. Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find strength and return the glory of Rome to its people. So I really thought the new cast additions were great, specifically Denzel Washington as Macrinus. He's in charge. He's the guy that's kind of like in charge of the gladiators. He steals every scene he's in, though. I could definitely see Denzel like being nominated for supporting actor in this one too. I also just saw that this is like also now his highest grossing movie that he's been in or something like that,
Really?
which seems kind of wild. I saw something like that. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I thought I saw an article that said it's now his highest grossing movie because he's been in a lot of stuff. But also Pedro Pascal, he's the man as usual. He's just a big Roman general badass. Also, the new emperors, they're annoying as hell and they're hateable right away, but they still just don't compare to Joaquin Phoenix at all. But Paul Mescal, he's good. I thought he could have brought a little bit more emotion to the role, and some like there's like some like deaths that don't really feel like they hit like as hard as they're supposed to hit. But don't get me wrong though, some of his speeches really fired me up. But there's just still nothing like what anything like what Maximus did in the first one.
Yeah.
There are some really good quotes that I like. Bate, who's like the super fan of the original, didn't. There's a point where he's like breaking out of a jail cell and they give him a wooden sword and he's like, wood or steel, a point is still a point. And he like stabs somebody's neck with it. That was a good one. And he's trying to fire up other gladiators and he's like, where we are, death is not. I liked that one. That was a good one. But it does look great and it feels great just like the first one. They do nail the cinematography and the score too. The action set pieces in the Coliseum are wild. I got hyped up several times throughout, just with the thumbs up and the thumbs down and stuff like that. Also, fuck the people that are wondering if, and like making a big fuss about like them bringing sharks into the Coliseum. They're like, oh, did they actually do it? They didn't actually do it. It's like, yeah, none of this fucking actually happened. It's just based on the time period. So don't be lame. It's just a movie. But also for 2 hours and 28 minutes, I thought it completely flew by. I would have sat for more time if I had to, but I did really like this one. I ended up going with a 9.4 on it.
Damn.
Pretty high. Tay, who's like I just said, she's like a mega fan of the first. She didn't even really like this one that much. She
Yeah.
thought it wasn't very emotional, and she thought it was kind of just like I feel like probably a lot of people are going to say it's more or less just a copy and paste of the first one. But that's fine by me because I was completely entertained the whole time and I really liked it. So I think you'll definitely like it too. Don't know if you'll have a 9 on it, and it may change. I think I liked it just about or a little bit lower than the bike riders. That's about what I had in the range of. But yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Really liked it. Definitely entertaining as hell.
Okay. Yeah, I know I'm 100% going to see it. Love the first one. And I was one of those people that was very worried about it. I probably spoke about it on here multiple
Uh,
times. But yeah, as far as Sharks in the Coliseum, that didn't happen, but they did fill it with and had fucking boat wars, which is pretty sick. Like that's an actual thing that they did.
Spoiler
Um,
alert, that's what they do in the movie. So there they go.
okay, there
They
you go. Yeah.
hell yeah.
So yeah, sharks. I think they said like they probably didn't even know what a shark was.
Yeah.
But they had a fuck ton of animals. It's wild.
Yeah.
Thousands of years ago, what they fucking did. But either way, yeah, man, that whole Roman war Colosseum, that's my shit. I love that. The Rome Total War game for years, even
Mhm.
when it was completely over with. I still go back and play it sometimes. Like it's just enjoyable. It's a neat time in history. But yeah, they 100% will be seeing this movie. Yeah, I'm also really curious on where I land
Yeah.
because I don't know if I'm going to end up signing with Tay or with you or somewhere in the
Uh-huh.
middle.
Yeah. I would if I had to bet, I'd say somewhere in the middle probably. I did kind of think too at times like, oh, this is kind of just like the first movie, but I don't really give a fuck. So I like the first movie a lot, and I like this
Sure.
one a lot too. And I'm always down to watch people fight in a coliseum.
Yeah, fucking rules. You would like
Mhm.
Spartacus,
Yeah.
not the 1950s movie or whatever,
Uh,
but the HBO Showtime TV series Spartacus. It fucking ruled. It was sick.
wow.
It was all about gladiators and stuff.
I gotcha.
Little kind of spoiler alert, even though that thing's like 10 years old. The original dude that played him in the TV series
Mm,
died of fucking cancer.
oh my.
And so they had to replace him. And they replaced him with a dude that looked nothing like him. And so you're like, what the hell just happened? But it's still extremely good.
Hell yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So we got Romans. Now we're gonna go to Hawaiians. I think they're Hawaiians. Yeah, Paul Malu's Hawaiian. Paul Malu supports this movie. Moana 2. We saw this one in theaters, and I was trying to be cheeky. Saw a later night movie before Thanksgiving. I'm like, sick. No one's gonna come. And when I bought the
Jam
tickets,
packed.
there was no one in the seats. Full theater.
Oh yeah.
Motherfucker. All these children and everything.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like the movie's for them. They should be able to enjoy it. And they were good.
Mhm.
They're not like there were no like brats like screaming and all that shit. It was good. It was fine. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, Moana 2, I did enjoy the first one quite a bit. This one does not have nearly as much charm as the
Okay.
original. It felt like kind of every other Disney sequel where it's just a cash grab. Um,
Mhm.
they added more characters. So rather than it being Moana and The Rock,
Maui.
Maui, thank you, the entire time with a chicken, they add three random ass like villager people
Yeah.
that each one of them is annoying in their own way. And you feel like they shouldn't even be there because the best scenes are when it's just Moana and Maui doing their thing, back in action together. And there wasn't enough of that. It was like maybe 30 minutes into the movie before they're even like combined and talking to each other.
Wow.
It might be longer than that actually, now that I think about it. Uh so I don't know if like The Rock definitely took a step back in this film, it felt like.
Wow. I'm
I don't
shocked. I'm surprised he didn't actually take a step forward.
Yeah, like and I mean in terms of like screen time. Like Maui
Right.
is not there a ton. The
Huh.
focus is really on Moana and these other villager people. Now at the end that it's they're all together, but for the first, I'm gonna say like 30, 40 minutes, Moana and Maui don't see each other.
Wow.
And yeah, these three people that they add are like stereotypical uh characters. So you have one character, she is a girl who apparently designs like boats.
Mm.
So she's like just this dorky, nerdy girl who is just quirky and always has to be improving the boat in some way. And that's her whole thing. That's the only thing she does. And it's annoying. She's also the only character with a fucking British accent.
Seems
And
wild.
the entire movie is about we've never seen any other people. Why is that? And they're going to try to find a way to find people from other places around the world. Wow, there's this person here with you the entire movie that has completely different accent and like it's never it's silly, it's really silly. So I don't, it's right in your face too. I'm sure children don't think about it maybe, but you don't have to be that old to be like that person sounds different.
Right.
um so that didn't make any sense. I don't know why they threw that. It's also an animated movie, like anyone else to do the voice.
Yeah.
um but that was one character. She was annoying. The second character was just kind of like the funny guy. He's like obsessed with Maui. He's like a super fan. So he like draws paintings of him and Maui like meeting. He's like, we're gonna be best friends, shit like that. And
Uh-huh.
that's his whole deal. He's just annoying. He also, so I had to check after the movie. I'm like, I don't think that was Palomalu, but I know Palomalu was involved in both films. And he was actually in the first one. I don't think he was in the second one.
That's
But
cool.
it looked just like him. And I'm like, fuck, did they give him a bigger role? And I thought that was really, really funny and cool, but it was not him. So that guy's just there to be annoying, funny, comic relief type character,
Mhm.
and it's too much. The third guy they add is he's like a gardener, and they bring him on the boat so they can grow crops. And like they made a really big deal about how they need to be able to grow crops while on the boat. I don't think you ever see them fucking eat or harvest the crops on the boat.
Huh.
So it's just like they bypass a lot of little details that leave holes in the story. They're not big holes that affect the overarching story, but they're little things that, like, if you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, well, wait a minute, why'd you do that? So that's just kind of annoying. A lot of cheap jokes that aren't really funny. And again, this theater is packed with children, and when they find something funny, they laugh. There
Oh, I'm
wasn't a
sure.
lot of that. There were a few parts at the beginning, some at the end, but it was very few and far between the enjoyment. I mean, they probably enjoyed it, but the outburst of laughter from children, it wasn't there. So it just felt there was no heart, which I
Yeah.
think was a big part of the first movie and why people enjoyed it so much. They're introducing different heritages
Mhm.
into film, and it worked out really well with the first one. This second one really felt like a cash grab.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the worst. I also feel like they probably rushed it too because first one didn't come out all that long ago. It feels like to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I don't know how long it's been, honestly, but I wasn't like, I know I just said Disney come up with original ideas. Moana is still an original idea. Even if
Right.
they make a sequel here. So like, I was
Yeah.
fine with this movie coming out and everything, but yeah, I don't know why it they didn't. It felt like they didn't try as hard. It's like they took a blueprint
Mhm.
from every other movie that has failed from Disney and stuck Moana in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, you had a good thing going. So it was a shame there. I didn't completely kill it because it was enjoyable enough. It was also pretty short. So I ended up at a 5 out of
Okay.
10. I think it's worth a watch, something to throw on. I would
Mhm.
not pay to see it anywhere, definitely not in theater.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw that it got like kind of like mid reviews whenever it first came out.
Yeah.
So then I think that like kind of ruined a bunch of the hype for it for a lot of people. And I think Wicked actually did better than it this weekend,
Good.
as it should, it sounds like.
Yes. That's a perfect segue time. So we're going to end this out here with a full review of Wicked. Wicked has been out as a musical, as a book for a while now. So I mean, if you don't know the freaking story, that's kind of on you.
Right.
So we can just jump in here directly with spoilers. If you don't want them, bye bye. We'll see you next week. We'll give you this: see Wicked,
Yes.
see Wicked.
Definitely see Wicked.
So with that said, Ty, I was worried about this movie.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
I did enjoy the musical, so like I was fine with that. I was worried they were going to do some bullshit that they always seem to do in films now. They didn't really, as far as I could tell. Also, I hate how fucking good Ariana Grande and I'm drawing a blank on her
Cynthia
partner's
Erivo.
name. Yeah, fantastic.
Believable. Yeah,
They were
unbelievable.
fantastic. I'm like, fuck, why are they good?
Yeah. Have you seen like all the interviews and stuff with them, like pre and post?
Yeah.
They're just so cringy. They're just
Yeah,
like crying and stuff. They're so
exactly
weird.
my thing. I'm like, all right, maybe they're just kind of shitty, annoying human beings. Like,
Yeah.
we can't forget what Ariana did to Mac Miller.
No,
Yeah,
can't forgive her. But
can't
I
forgive
did
her.
love her in this movie. I think she was my
She
favorite
was
part of the
so
whole movie.
fucking good. I
Yeah.
I hated giving her the praise that she absolutely deserves.
Yeah, she was unbelievable.
She was funny, obviously has a fantastic voice, that's never been in question. When they sang "Defying Gravity,"
Yeah, I mean, that's
I'm
been
like,
playing
"Oh,
on
it's melting."
well, my favorite was Popular.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so we sang I was a dork, Ty, I was in
Mhm.
chorus.
Maybe.
We sang, we sang some songs from Wicked. The Defying Gravity, I believe, was one of them, and the other one, they didn't get to in part 1. So I'm assuming not assuming, it has to be in part 2. That's also kinda something that's interesting to me because the original musical has a runtime of 3 hours. This was 2 hours and 40 minutes, and that was only part 1.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're definitely kinda dragging it out there, it seems like.
Yeah, and I don't think they had to. I mean, I was entertained the entire 2 hours, 40 minutes, which is rare.
For sure. It was long, but it didn't really feel that long.
It did not feel long.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it didn't feel long. I think it took the way it started, it took me a little bit to get into it.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, but not super long, 10, 15 minutes. After that, I'm hooked.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely hooked. Like I said, I didn't even get to say I didn't even I've never seen the Broadway show, never read any of the
Mhm.
books or anything like that. So I was like skeptical going into this one just because like I don't know, I just
Sure.
it, musical, whatever. But I mean, our theater was packed wall to wall. It was sold out. There was even I think AMC had to like make a queue for people to buy tickets to
Wow.
this Gladiator and Moana this weekend because so many people were buying tickets. So it was just awesome. But yeah, I mean, I was completely blown away by this movie, and it was probably one of my biggest surprises of the year. I mean,
I
I
think
thought it
that's
was going to
fair.
be
Yeah.
decent. I thought it was going to do well, but I didn't expect it to be such a critically good movie too.
It's fantastic. Uh, one, I want to ask you, since you had packed theater, did anyone fucking get up and sing?
No, thank
All right,
gosh,
good.
nobody was singing.
I
Did
couldn't do
anybody
that.
yours?
I couldn't do
They
that.
were like encouraging people not to do that because apparently they're going to make
Yeah.
like a sing along version or something like that. But even then,
Okay.
still, I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
do
shut
that
up.
either. Fuck that too.
Yeah. You bringing it up, critically acclaimed for this, the critic acclaim. I don't know how to say it, that.
Mhm.
I just got punched in the head a few times before I got on here. So I'm a little dumb right now. But this movie deserves a lot of accolades. Obviously, Wicked, the musical, has won a shit ton of Tonys and everything. I don't know if it's still going. I think it is.
It may be.
I think it is, but I could be wrong. Either way, this film deserves praise. And not just from reviews and all that, and of course, that's what really matters. It sounds like a lot of people don't give a fuck about Oscars, Grammys. They just throw them in the trash or to the side in a closet. But, like, I'm looking through all the odds right now for the, Oscars. Wicked is 7, and The Brutalist hasn't even come out yet, and that's 2, so they know something we don't.
Right.
Dune Part 2 is above it, barely. Dune Part 2 is at +900, Wicked's at +1,000. I think they should be about even.
Mhm.
Conclave, I don't know what that is. Sing Sing, I don't know what that is. Emilia Perez was Poo Poo, and then Anora, which you said was fantastic, so I
Fuck
think
yeah.
that's fair for that to be currently top. But not just that, I don't think it wins Best Picture, I don't think it probably deserves it. But like you said, Best Actress, I need to go back and see her name. Cynthia is not even on the odds for Best Actress.
Oh, wow. That's kind of
But
wild. I mean, sh she sang all that shit for real. That was so good.
yeah, but,
That's not even like acting. That's like fucking doing it.
Ariana Grande is up for best. Again, this is all unofficial. This is just what the sports books predict. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Ariana Grande is 5th at +1,000 for best supporting actress,
Wow.
with the lead being Zoe Saldana from Emilia Perez, and that movie sucked.
Yeah, what the
So
hell?
I don't know if it has something to do with it being a musical. I don't
Mhm.
know many musicals that have won a lot of Oscars, honestly. Maybe like
I
what,
think La
West
La
Side
Land?
Story, and I don't
Pretty
know.
sure La La
That's
Land
a
was a
good
music.
question. Yeah, yeah, La La Land counts. That's a good point. How many
I still haven't seen La La Land either, but I've always
uh,
wanted to. It's on the list.
let's see here. Every musical that has won Best Picture. The last one was 2002, Chicago.
Okay.
And then before that was the last time a musical won Best Picture. A West Side Story in 1961 also won, and that's the big one because it won 10 Oscars.
Holy shit.
So I don't know if they just have a thing against them because it's been 22 years since the last one. And again, I'm not saying it should win Best Picture, but just the point that it hasn't. I know La La Land, I think, was at least nominated.
Hmm. I
Um,
think La La Land might have won Best Picture. Or was that the year that thing they got like something mixed up? Moonlight, but it was actually
yeah, let's see. But these it takes massive talent. Not only were they good at singing, they were good at acting. I enjoyed how Ariana Grande she was perfect.
loved it. I mean,
For
she
that
was my
character.
favorite. I think she was
She was
probably my
silly.
favorite. Besides Nora, she was my favorite like female actress of the year. Glinda.
It was great.
Yeah. I can't say
Uh,
enough good stuff about this movie.
no, and it's weird. It feels weird. La La Land won 6 Oscars. It won Best Actor, Best Lead Actor, sorry, Best Lead Actress, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. Wait, Best Motion Picture of the Year. Oh, it did win. All right, I was lied to. That must not have been updated. So before La La Land was Chicago.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that was whenever I'm pretty sure they like opened up the envelope and it was something wrong.
Fucking Steve Harvey, dumbass. Yeah, I will be really upset if they don't at least have nominations across the board.
Yeah, surely it will. I mean, I'm hoping it will.
Yeah,
This might
but
be like one of my bigger shocks of the year. Like whenever we make our lists at the end
yeah,
of the year, like after the year, like this is definitely going to be up there for like biggest
it has to be.
surprise of the year for me. I mean, definitely for you too. It's like we're like 30-year-old dudes. We like watching people get beat up on TV and playing fucking video games and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
this is not for us, but we both loved it. So I mean, that's a testament to how good the movie is right there.
Yeah, the only one I think like competes with it in terms of surprises is Thelma.
Right. Just because we never even heard
It's
of it.
weird. Exactly. And it's a surprise for different reasons.
Right.
Thelma
Yeah.
was a surprise, like you said, we never heard of it. It
Hmm.
was out of nowhere. Wicked was a surprise. We're like, it's gonna be lame. And it was great. It
Hmm.
was fantastic. But Ty, let's put those numbers to the test. What did you end up at?
Let's see here. I have to go see what I put in my notes. 9.2.
Okay.
I think I probably do like it more than Gladiator. It's probably better than Gladiator if it comes down to it, but I think I was more entertained at Gladiator, I will
Okay.
say, I think. But I mean
So
it's like neck and neck with that with Gladiator for me.
fair enough. So
I might
Ty,
be really high on Gladiator. I don't know. I might have to
you
rewatch
might
it
have
and
to
see if
calm
I'm
it
too
down.
high on Gladiator. I might have to calm down on Gladiator, but this is definitely well deserving of a 9.
I'm right there with you. I gave it a 9.
We go.
And that puts it, I think that is my second. Oh no, it's tied. Tied for my third highest. So I have a tie for first with Long Legs and Deadpool. And then tied for second, and then the rest of the way down is Wicked, Thelma, and The Wild Robot, which when we start to do our awards, I'll have to kind of pick that apart and actually get my order. But from top of my head, I definitely liked it more than Thelma.
I
Wild
did too.
Robot's close. I did like The Wild Robot. I'll have to think about that one. But Ty, that in terms of our rankings right now, I haven't seen Gladiator 2 and I haven't seen Anora, and then you haven't seen The Wild Robot.
Hmm.
So those are the ones that are currently in our top 5. And technically, we have 7 in our top 5 because there's ties. So we'll have to figure out those tiebreakers down the line. But right now, those I can't even call it the top 5. The top 5, 7 tied for 5. So right now, at the bottom, there is a 3-way tie for 5th place with Dune 2, Thelma, and The Wild Robot.
Wow.
In, I guess, 4th place is Wicked. 3rd place is currently Gladiator 2. 2nd place is currently Honora. And number 1 is still Long Legs.
Wow.
So I need to see Honora and Gladiator 2, and we'll see how this shakes out. But we're coming close to this being finalized.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I keep wanting to think like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like, there's still plenty more coming out for this year. No, there's like 3 more weeks left in the year.
So this is an interesting thing that we should probably think. So the current, what did I say? Second favorite is a movie called The Brutalist for Best Picture. That movie doesn't come out till January.
Yeah, it's so weird,
And
like what the cutoffs are and stuff.
So I think we stick with calendar year and do our thing
Yeah, I think so too.
and let the Brutalist be for 2025 because that's when it comes out. Like that,
Right.
that makes sense.
I
Stupid
firmly
Oscars.
agree.
They don't know what they're doing. They need to let us do it.
Yeah. It's dumb whenever they do stuff like that, like with eligibility and stuff like that. It's like just
It's all
calendar
over the
year.
place.
It's that simple.
Also, the Brutalist is set for 3.5 hours.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
Yeah.
What's the Brutalist about?
Let's see here. When visionary architect Laszlo Toth and his wife Erzsébet flee post-war Europe in 1947 to rebuild their legacy and witness the birth of modern America, their lives are changed forever by a mysterious and wealthy client.
Hmm.
I don't got a clue.
That sounds like kind of like a fucking drag for 3.5 hours.
All over the place. Adrian Brody, he's in a lot of like top, drags, but like top films like The Pianist, Grand Budapest Hotel, Midnight in Paris.
Mhm.
He's in a lot of those types of films.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
Oh yeah, he was in Succession for a little bit. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's right. And wasn't he in am I crazy or was he in Peaky Blinders as well?
That feels like a movie or a show he definitely would have been. Yeah, he was.
Okay,
He
I
was
thought so.
Luca Shangretta.
I was gonna say I think he was an Italian
6
guy.
episodes. Yeah. Yeah, he was. But yeah, he's in a lot of those like World War II type movies
Uh-huh.
just as a dude.
The dude.
Ty, any closing thoughts on Wicked?
I mean, just go see it. Yeah, just
Yeah,
definitely go
that's
see
the
it.
real
Well,
thing.
well, listen to the soundtrack too. Even
It is long. It is definitely long.
that's probably like one
So
of my only gripes with it. It might slow down a little bit
yeah.
towards like the last third or so, and then like it obviously picks back up for the last third. Like it's probably like right before like the last third, somewhere in between second and third act. It slows down a little bit, and then it picks back up obviously for the end.
I mean,
It's freaking good.
even the musical had a 15-minute intermission. So if you want to wait for this to come out to streaming and watch it in pieces, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yep, do it. It's going to be in the theater for a while though, so you might as well go see it while it's there.
Yeah. And it will sound a lot better too.
100%.
All right, Ty, I think that's where we close it out here and be back next week with another normal sized episode.
Yeah, we'll see what we see.